What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm back in the video. This time once again, we're going to look at some of the best teams in the NBA, and specifically the two best teams, that being the Brooklyn Nets and the LA Lakers. If you've been paying attention lately, both those teams have been stacking up all-star talent. The Lakers have Westbrook, Carmelo, Dwight Howard, DeAndre Jordan. The Nets got Paul Millsap, LaMarcus Aldridge. Both these teams are packing on the former all-star talent. That's a lot of NBA fans convinced these two teams are meeting in the NBA Finals. But unfortunately for them, I'm not one of those people. And I think if you go back in NBA history, there are a lot of big glaring red signs that both these teams will not meet in the NBA Finals. So with that being said, in this video, I'm going to give you 5 reasons that the Nets and Lakers will not be squaring off on the biggest stage. So without wasting more time, let's get into the video and look at reason number 1. So first up, let's go to the West and look at the LA Lakers. Like I said before, this team has been packing on the former all-star talent, bringing guys like Rondo, Carmelo, and some very good veteran pieces. Now with that being said, the Lakers at this moment are very, very old. And historically speaking, old NBA teams most of the time don't win NBA championships. And looking at LA's roster right now, Carmelo, he's 37, Ariza's 36, Gasol's 36, LeBron's going to turn 37, Rondo's 35, Dwight's 35, DeAndre Jordan's 33, and Westbrook is 32. And all those guys on that list have been in the NBA for 10 plus years and have tons of miles on their bodies. And specifically Carmelo, LeBron, Rondo, and Westbrook, I think those guys in the playoffs will get big time minutes for this Lakers team. So in a nutshell, the Lakers core consists of LeBron James, 37, Westbrook's going to be 33, Carmelo's 37, Rondo's 35, and AD, who's 28. And even looking at the youngest player on that list, Anthony Davis, throughout his career, for the most part, he's been made of glass when it comes to playoffs as well as the regular season.
No. No. Yeah. Ow.
And if you want to look at the entire Lakers roster in total right now, they are the oldest team in the NBA with an average age of 30.9. And currently, they are the only team with an average age above 30. And look at NBA history right now, they were the second oldest championship team in NBA history behind the 98 Bulls and the 2011 Dallas Mavericks. So once again, historically speaking, a championship run for this Lakers team is highly unlikely given their overall age. It's not impossible, but the odds are definitely stacked against it. And looking at those Bulls and Mavericks teams, those are two of the more legendary championship runs in NBA history. So the question has to be asked, is LeBron James' Lakers team up to the challenge of an all-time great postseason run? Now for reason number 2, let's go to the East and look at the Brooklyn Nets. And the big time concern with Brooklyn is their overall health and injury status, as their big 3 was severely banged up in last year's playoffs. And look at Kevin Durant, his injury history. In 2019, of course, he had the Achilles injury, and this past year he only played 35 games. And while he was great in those games, the question still lingers, can KD endure an entire season and be ready for the playoffs and be 100% healthy? I definitely think he can, but it's not out of the question he gets injured or banged up during this run. Now looking at Kyrie Irving, this is where I'm most concerned. Kyrie in 2021 played 35 games, coming off 2020 where he only played 20 games. And looking back at his injury history in 2019, he broke his face, had severe ankle injuries, and 2018 had a knee injury. And of course this past year versus the Bucks, he had severe ankle injury that knocked him out of the playoffs. And we're looking at Kyrie's playoff history in the past 4 years, he's played a total of 18 playoff games. So when it comes to overall skill and showmanship, Kyrie is one of the best. When it comes to being available and healthy, he's definitely not the best point guard in the NBA in that aspect. Now looking at Brooklyn's third star, you have James Harden. And out of the bunch, he's more durable than KD as well as Kyrie. But in 2021, he had an unlikely hamstring injury that hampered him the rest of the playoffs. And my big time concern with Harden is the miles he has on his body. Since 2013, he's averaged 37 minutes per game and played a total of 650 plus games. That is some big time wear and tear on one of the best players in the NBA. When you make deep playoff runs like Harden routinely, you're definitely going to have some extra wear and tear on your tires that could definitely hurt this Nets team in the long run. Now for reason number 3, let's stay in the Eastern Conference. And speaking of the East, it is a much improved conference from past years. I mean, look at the teams they have right now. These are legit championship contenders. You have the Bucks, of course, the defending champions. You have the Hawks, who are in the conference finals. You have the Heat, who added Kyle Lowry. You have the Knicks, who have Kemba. The Bulls added Lonzo, DeMar, and they have Vucevic coming back. The Hornets had a great draft. They have a great young core. Boston has Dennis Schroeder and a much improved front court. And Indiana also has TJ Warren, a new coach in Rick Carlisle. I mean, the Eastern Conference top to bottom is pretty stacked with some very solid playoff teams. And I think 3 to 4 of those teams could be legit finals contenders. And hypothetically speaking, Brooklyn's path to a ring could be very, very difficult. The toughest path I see is in the first round, they play the Knicks, the second round the Bulls, and the conference finals, once again, the Milwaukee Bucks. That is not an easy road to the finals, and all three of those teams have multiple All-Stars on their rosters. And once again, look at the injury factor. If Harden tweaks his hamstring, if Kyrie twists his ankle, if KD goes down for whatever reason, Brooklyn could be in a very tough position in a very competitive Eastern Conference. I'm just putting this out there. Do not be surprised if one of those players is not playing in the playoffs. Now looking at reason number 4, we go back to the West and look at the Lakers. Specifically, their all-star point guard, that being Russell Westbrook. And the big question is, what do you do with Westbrook with his Lakers team? If he doesn't have the ball in his hands, what is he going to be doing and contributing to the Lakers on offense? Is he going to be shooting threes, is he going to be driving? What is Westbrook doing when LeBron has the ball and him and AD are playing a two-man game? And I mean, defensively, Westbrook at this point in his career isn't adding much, as he has tons of mental lapses, where he simply lose the offensive player and they get easy buckets on backdoor cuts, or screen and rolls, or even pick and pops. But the defensive end is not my major concern. My major concern with Westbrook is on the offensive end, specifically in the playoffs. As in the past 5 years, Westbrook has been the least efficient all-star point guard when it comes to playoff play. Looking at his shooting splits, he shoots 38% from the field and 29% from 3 with 4.7 turnovers. So how is that player going to fit in with LeBron James and Anthony Davis when he does not have the ball? That is the biggest question for this Lakers team, and how they're going to solve that big problem. Also, one thing I had to look at is Westbrook in the clutch, specifically the last 5 minutes of a game. And once again, looking at the past 5 years, Westbrook in the clutch has not been great, averaging 2.3 points per game on 26% shooting and 21% from 3. So looking at all that data right there, I think it paints a pretty clear picture. Westbrook in the playoffs is not a good shooter and not a good floor spacer. And when it comes to playing off ball, he is definitely no Steph Curry. So in summary, my big concerns with Westbrook is his overall fit, his ability in the clutch, how he's playing off ball, and the spacing he provides to the Lakers team. Now finally, reason number 5 why we won't get a Nets vs Lakers finals. This is pretty simple, and this finals matchup is simply too good to be true. Having KD vs LeBron, KD vs Westbrook, Harden vs Westbrook, Kyrie vs Westbrook, Kyrie vs LeBron, there's simply too many storylines, and it's just too golden. I mean, this finals matchup, from a rating standard, will be absolutely nuts. But once again, championships are not won on paper, they're won on the court. And look at the past 15 years, only 3 times have the two championship favorites met on the biggest stage, that being 2018, 2017, and 2016. And looking at 2017 and 2018, we had the overpowered Golden State Warriors combined with the Cavaliers from the weak Eastern Conference. And really both those seasons, they were the overwhelming favorites to make the finals. But outside of that rivalry, 80% of the time, the two championship favorites do not square off in the NBA Finals. And even since the 21st century, only 4 times have the two favorites met in the finals. So once again, this finals matchup looks absolutely great on paper, but historically speaking, it is simply not going to happen. So that right there was the end of the video, and that was 5 reasons the Nets and Lakers will not meet in the NBA Finals. And I think when it's all said and done, the Nets or Lakers, one of those teams will be in the finals, but I think both of them being there is highly unlikely, and if you look at NBA history, all signs point to this matchup not taking place. So as always, thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time.